March 3, 2023, Oak Ridge Terrace Apartments, Unit 4B. The first time Leah heard the knocking, she thought it was the heat. It came at 3 a.m., a soft, rhythmic tap-tap-tap from the metal grate above her bed. Winter still held tight in New Jersey, and the radiators wheezed like old ghosts. She didn't even open her eyes. But the next night, it happened again. Same time. Same pattern. Only this time, there was a whisper. Hello? New apartment, new quiet. Leah had only lived in Unit 4B for 6 days. Quiet neighborhood. 4th floor walk-up. Big windows. Cheap rent. Too cheap, maybe? But after losing her job and downsizing fast, it was the only place that would take her application without hesitation. The walls were thin. She could hear the couple next door fight through the drywall. But no one lived directly above her. The building slanted up into the old boiler tower. That made the voice even stranger, because it came from above. The whisper returns. Night 3. Same time. She was reading in bed, white noise playing through her phone when she heard the tapping. Then, "Can I come out now?" The voice was small. Young. Definitely a child. She turned off the white noise. Held her breath. Nothing. She grabbed her phone, activated the voice memo app, and hit record. Tap, tap, tap. Hello? She sat up fast, heart hammering. "Who's there?" She called up toward the vent. Silence. The vent above the bed. The bedroom vent was built into the ceiling, small, square, with a rusting grate cover. No airflow ever came from it. Just cold air. She stood on a chair, examined it with her phone flashlight. No draft. No sound. But the metal was warm to the touch. She ran her fingers along the edge, something sticky. When she pulled her hand back, it came away with a smudge of black crayon. She tells the super. The next morning, Leah cornered Artie, the building superintendent, in the lobby. "Hey, can you tell me if the ducts connect between apartments?" Artie squinted. "Nah, they sealed all that off years ago. No central air. Vents are cosmetic now." "Why?" She hesitated. "I think someone's messing with me. Like a kid. In the wall." He blinked. Then said, "You're in 4B?" She nodded. Artie scratched the back of his neck. I thought that unit was cleared." The first drawing appears. March 5th. Leah wakes with a crick in her neck. Stumbles to the kitchen for coffee. Stops cold. There's something on the floor near the bedroom door. A folded piece of paper. She opens it. A drawing. Crayon. Sloppy but distinct. A stick figure sleeping in a bed. Another figure with long arms crawling out of a vent. Underneath, in shaky letters. "Hi. I see you." She checks the doors. Locked. Windows. Shut. The paper smells faintly of mildew and rust. She installs a camera. That night, she sets up her phone on a tripod pointed at the vent. Just to be safe. At 3 a.m., the tapping returns. She doesn't move. Doesn't speak. Just lets the camera roll. The next morning, she checks the footage. From 2:58 to 3:04, the screen shows static. Only static. Until the final frame, where the last second shows a hand, pale, small, pressed against the inside of the grate. The internet thinks it's a hoax. She uploads the image to a paranormal subreddit. They call it fake. ARG bait? Viral stunt. But one DM catches her eye. A user named Retrace314 writes, "You're in 4B? Oak Ridge Terrace? If it knocks 3 times, don't answer. Don't talk back." He remembers who speaks. Leah replies, "Who is he?" No response. She checks the user profile. Account deleted. She looks into the history. At the local library, she pulls building records. Oak Ridge Terrace was built in 1956. Under renovations in 1981, 1997, 2009. Nothing strange. Until she finds a faded news clipping from 1994. Headline: Boy missing in Oak Ridge complex, last seen in crawl space. The article says he was 7. Name withheld. Disappeared during a fire drill. Firefighters never found the body. But 2 days later, the mother reported hearing scratching from the vent. No one believed her. March 6th, the voice changes. The tapping comes earlier. 2:51 a.m. Leah sits upright in bed. The vent hisses faintly like breathing. Then the voice. "I remember your room. It used to be warm. You have a nice voice." She doesn't respond. Doesn't move. But the closet door swings open slowly. She grabs her phone. Hits record. The voice whispers, "You'll fit better than the last one." Closing scene, March 7th, 2023. Leah receives a second drawing. This one slid under her bathroom door while she was inside. It shows a stick figure with no mouth lying in a bed. Above it, in the vent, 2 red eyes. And in the corner, "Let me out or I'll come out wrong." Leah discovers more drawings in places she's never looked, under furniture, behind light switch plates taped inside her pillowcase. And everyone shows the boy getting closer to her. March 7th, 2023, 9:14 a.m., Oak Ridge Terrace, Unit 4B. Leah didn't sleep. She sat in her kitchen with the lights on, the vent in the bedroom covered with a thick bath towel and duct tape. Her phone sat on the table, camera app still open, microphone turned up. She replayed the last recording on loop. Over and over. "Let me out or I'll come out wrong." The words were whispered, but something in the voice, flat, careful, too rehearsed, felt older than it sounded. The drawing under the bed. She hadn't planned to check, but as she stripped her sheets that morning, she saw something tucked just under the frame. She knelt and reached. Another piece of folded paper. Same mildew smell. She opened it slowly. A crayon drawing. A bedroom hers. Stick figure sleeping. The vent overhead drawn darker this time. And in the corner, much smaller, a face peeking out of the air return grate. Below it, in childish block letters. "I crawled out once, but it was too hot." She begins to mark the drawings. There were 3 now. She pins them to the fridge with magnets. Each one is dated in pencil, March 5th, March 6th, March 7th. She lays them side by side and sees it. The figure inside the vent is closer each time. More visible. Better defined. First just a face. Then shoulders. Now a full figure, crouched, with both hands gripping the bars. And the vent in the drawing is open. No one believes her. She calls the property manager. Leaves a voicemail. There's something in the duct system. Someone. A kid. They don't call back. She emails Artie, the super. Gets 1 line in response. "I wouldn't go pulling things open in that unit. It's older than it looks." That night she calls her sister. Tries to explain, but the line drops 3 times. When she finally gets through, her sister says, "Sorry, my phone's been weird. You said there's a boy." Then laughs nervously. "Is this another one of your stories?" She begins hearing the crawling. It starts faint like nails on metal. 1:17 a.m. She's in the living room watching reruns. Suddenly, scrape, scrape, drag. She mutes the TV. The sound continues through the ceiling, past the hallway toward the bedroom. She walks slowly. The crawling stops. Then a voice directly overhead. "There's no light in here. Only your smell." March 8th, more drawings appear. She finds them throughout the day. Taped inside her kitchen cabinet. Folded between the pages of a book she never opened. Behind the bathroom mirror. All drawn in the same black crayon. Some on old receipts. Others on torn notebook paper. Each one worse than the last. In one, the vent is completely open. In another, her bed is empty and the stick figure is standing beside it, holding something red. In one, the figure in the vent is smiling. The phone call that shouldn't have happened. That night, Leah's phone rings at 3:14 a.m. Unknown number. She lets it go to voicemail. The message lasts 8 seconds. Just breathing. At the very end, a click. Then her own voice saying, "You left the window unlocked." She rushes to the window. Still locked. But on the sill, a smudge of black crayon. She checks the vent with a mirror. March 9th. Armed with her phone's flashlight and a compact mirror, she climbs the chair. Holds the mirror into the vent. At first, nothing. Dust. A small nail. Cobwebs. Then, a drawing taped inside. She pulls it out with tongs. It's torn, but the image is clear. A face staring out. Eyes empty. Fingers too long. And beneath it, scrawled in shaking hand. "You drew me. Now I draw you." She starts to forget things. Her toothbrush is wet before she uses it. The fridge contains a sandwich she doesn't remember making. A voicemail on her phone from herself saying, "Don't go to sleep. Don't let him make another." She plays it back. The file deletes itself. She checks her journal. On a blank page, in her handwriting. "He remembers better than you do." Closing scene, March 9th, 2023. She wakes from a nap at 5:20 p.m. Head throbbing. Something crinkles beneath her pillow. A drawing. Fresh. She unfolds it slowly. It shows her bed. Stick figure in it, her. Next to it, the figure from the vent. Closer now. Standing beside the bed. Holding a crayon. Underneath, a note. "Tomorrow I draw your name." Leah searches for records of the missing boy, only to find that someone already filed reports using her name. As the drawings grow more realistic, she realizes the boy might not be copying her life, he might be creating it. March 10, 2023, 9:26 a.m. Fairhaven Library Archives. Leah needed answers. She hadn't slept. The drawing under her pillow still sat folded in her jacket pocket. Tomorrow I draw your name. The voice in the vent hadn't returned yet, but the crayon marks were appearing faster. On doorknobs, on light switches, on her skin. She needed to know if the missing boy from 1994 was real. And if he was, why she felt like she knew him. The records clerk's reaction. At the Fairhaven Archives, she asked about Oak Ridge Terrace. The clerk raised an eyebrow. Which unit? For B. He didn't write anything down. Just paused. You're not the first to ask. Leah leaned in. What happened to the boy? There was no boy, the clerk said. Then, at least that's what the police report says now. But I remember him. Dark hair. Lived on the 4th floor. Drew all the time. Wouldn't speak. They said he ran away. But that vent was sealed before he ever left. Conflicting reports. She found the original article. Boy 7 missing from Oak Ridge Complex during fire drill. Last seen playing near duct access. But in the city's digital database, nothing. No record. No case number. No missing persons report. She printed what she could. Photocopied the newspaper clipping. But her phone wouldn't photograph the document. Each time she tried, the screen filled with static. When she checked her gallery, the image was replaced with a crayon drawing of herself asleep. The stranger who knew her name. On her way out, a man was waiting outside the library. Middle-aged. Beard. Eyes too wide. He approached her slowly. Leah? She froze. Do I know you? He handed her an envelope. He draws to remember. But he's starting to invent. The moment he gets your name right, you stop being you. He turned and walked away. Inside the envelope. Another drawing. This one showed a stick figure holding a folded piece of paper. Above it. I'm not drawing anymore. I'm tracing. Home is no longer hers. That night, Leah returned to her apartment. The light switch didn't work until she flipped it twice. Her bedroom window was locked. But outside on the glass, written backward in black crayon. I watched you read. Inside her fridge. A sandwich. No bite taken. Cut diagonally the way she used to cut them as a kid. Next to it. A folded napkin with a drawing of a girl standing at a window, hand on the glass. The journal page that wasn't hers. March 11 to 2:33 a.m. Leah opened her notebook. New writing. Her handwriting but unfamiliar. Memory scaffold breaking down. Host unaware of implantation. Drawing continues. Pattern repeating. Subject identifies as Leah M. Corbin. Warning, he remembers more than her now. She flipped to the back. A full-page crayon sketch. A child's room. A vent. A sleeping figure. And beneath the bed. A second Leah. Awake. Smiling. Voices in the ducts. She climbs onto the chair again. Vent sealed, but warm. She presses her ear to the metal. Inside, scratching. Then a voice. Why are you trying to leave? She doesn't respond. You moved in. That makes you mine. Then, you're not the first, Leah. You're just the best at staying still. The report she never filed. Leah calls the police. Reports a possible stalker, someone breaking in, leaving drawings. An officer shows up, takes notes, then says, You already filed this last week. Said someone was in the vent. Kid with a crayon. Leah's breath catches. No, I didn't. I'm filing it now. The officer frowns. Checks his tablet. Weird. Reports under your name. Same unit. Same story. But the voice on the recording isn't yours. March 12th, the spiral drawing. At sunrise, Leah finds a spiral drawn in crayon on her bedroom wall. Small, neat, but as she watches, it grows. Like water soaking outward. She wipes it with her sleeve. It bleeds into the fabric. Inside the spiral, new words appear. I remember you wrong, but I'm fixing that. Her voice stops matching. She tries a voice login for her bank. Fails. Tries again. Fails. The app requests identity confirmation. She plays an old voicemail from a month ago, her own voice. And it sounds different than the one she uses now. Higher. Less hesitant. She says her name aloud. It feels wrong in her mouth. The new drawing on her skin. She showers. As she towels off, she sees it. On her left thigh, faint black lines. A spiral. Drawn in crayon. It won't wash off. It wasn't there yesterday. Closing scene, March 12th, 3:14 a.m. Leah jerks awake to the sound of paper tearing. She flips on the light. Drawings dozens are scattered across the floor. Each one shows her. Sleeping. Walking. crying. One shows her in the vent, smiling, and in the bottom corner of the final drawing. You remember being born. I remember making you. Leah confronts the idea that her memories might not be hers at all, that someone else is writing her life one drawing at a time. And the boy in the vent may not be remembering her, but sketching a version that never existed. March 13, 2023, 3:03 a.m. Oak Ridge Terrace, Unit 4B. Leah didn't sleep. Couldn't. The drawings covered her apartment like rot. Under the rug. Inside the fridge. Tucked into shoes she hadn't worn in months. All drawn in the same hand. All of her. But she wasn't sure she remembered doing any of the things they showed. Some drawings are in the future. She pins 3 drawings to the wall. 1. Leah making tea in a blue sweater she doesn't own. 2. Leah staring into the hallway mirror, but her reflection is smiling wider. 3. Leah sleeping, but the clock on the nightstand reads 3:14 a.m., and her eyes are open. They feel predictive, not memories, instructions. She buys a camera and it glitches. Leah installs a motion-activated security camera aimed directly at the vent. It works fine for the first 2 nights. On the 3rd, the footage cuts out at 3:14 a.m. When it resumes, the vent is open. The black crayon lies on the floor. The camera screen briefly displays the words, "Welcome back." Crayon in the sink. That afternoon, Leah turns on the bathroom faucet. Something clatters in the bowl, a small object flushed from the pipe. She pulls it out, a half-used black crayon, soaked and soft. On its side, carved in tiny letters, "I draw what I remember. You're almost done." She begins to forget her own life. March 14th. She looks through her phone. Can't remember taking half the photos. One shows her in a yellow coat. She's never owned one. Another shows a blurry figure behind her, short, pale, almost human. She calls her best friend, Anna. "Leah," Anna says, "you moved 2 years ago. I thought you were in Colorado." "No, I never left Jersey." "That's not what your letter said." Leah never wrote a letter. The drawing she doesn't show anyone. A new sketch appears on her bed. Folded neatly, no smell this time. She opens it and gasps. It's a drawing of her skin peeling off like paper. Underneath, a figure in crayon, smiling. Round eyes, no pupils, too many teeth. Above it, "You were good paper. I'm ready for better." She tries to burn the drawings. That night, Leah gathers every sketch she can find. Over 100. She sets them in the kitchen sink and lights a match. The paper catches instantly, but instead of curling into ash, each page turns white, the drawings disappearing, and something else appears underneath. New faces, not hers, smiling children, each one with black eyes and a crayon in their hand. The flame goes out by itself, and the sink is full of wet, blank pages. The boy finally speaks without the vent. At 3:14 a.m., Leah hears the voice again, this time from her closet. "You won't feel it. I only need a few more lines." She opens the door. Empty, except for one thing, a framed drawing of herself hung on the back wall. Drawn in color, unrealistic, wide smile, blank eyes, arms folded like a mannequin. She turns it over. The back reads, "This version was better." The police return and leave afraid. She calls them again. 2 officers come. They search. They question. They find no forced entry. One officer picks up a drawing and turns pale. "Where'd you get this?" "It just shows up." The officer stares at it. A drawing of himself. Mouth stitched shut, eyes black, falling down a flight of stairs. He puts it down and mutters, "We're not coming back." The new voice in the phone. Her phone rings. Blocked number. She doesn't answer. The voicemail transcribes as, "Hello, Leah. I almost finished you. Just one more page. Then I get to live." She plays the audio. It's not a child's voice. It's her own, distorted, like it was recorded underwater. The mirrors start changing. March 15th. Her bathroom mirror no longer shows her. Just a room behind her, a child's room. Crayons. Blank paper. A vent above a tiny bed. In the reflection, someone is watching her from under the bed. And when she blinks, the image resets. But it's always there again by the third blink. She wakes up in the wrong clothes. She falls asleep fully clothed. Wakes up in pajamas she doesn't own. The bedsheets smell like someone else. Her pillow is on the opposite side. And next to her is a new sketch. Leah walking out of Oak Ridge Terrace, smiling. Waving goodbye. Underneath. Almost real. One more night. One more you. Closing scene, March 15th, 3:14 a.m. A final drawing appears on the wall, taped above her bed. Full page. Realistic. It shows her face. But wrong. No freckles. Pupils pinprick small. Hands holding a black crayon. She reaches for it, slowly, as if in a trance. And hears the voice in her ear, not from the vent this time. Draw me waking up. Then you can sleep. Leah uncovers an unfinished children's book hidden in the apartment walls, written by the boy's mother. But the book ends mid-sentence. And the final page is blank, except for one instruction. He can only exist if he's drawn completely. March 16, 2023, 12:17 p.m., Oak Ridge Terrace, Unit 4B. Leah hadn't left the apartment in 3 days. She blocked the vent with wood, taped shut every outlet, smashed 2 mirrors, and yet the drawing still appeared inside sealed cabinets, taped under her toilet seat, folded into her coat pocket. The latest one was the worst. It showed her cutting open her own chest and something smaller crawling out. Beneath it, scrawled in larger, shakier letters than before. I need room. She starts hearing crayon sounds. Soft scratching at night. Not claws. Crayon on drywall. Inside the walls, above the ceiling, behind light switches. She presses her ear to the wall and hears it clearly. Sketch, scratch. Sketch, scratch. Sketch, pause, scratch. Like someone drawing her line by line, waiting between strokes to decide what she becomes next. The hollow in the wall. Out of desperation, Leah takes a hammer to the wall behind her bookshelf. She cracks plaster. Pulls backward. Inside, a small gap no bigger than a crawl space. Old toys. A tattered blanket. Crayon shavings. And a book. A hardcover children's book. Dusty. Thick. Hand-stitched spine. No ISBN. The title in faded ink. The Boy Who Drew Too Well. She reads the book. It starts like a fairy tale. There was once a little boy who could draw anything. When he drew trees, they grew. When he drew birds, they flew. And when he drew a friend, they smiled. The tone darkens. One day, the boy drew a door, and the friend walked out. But the friend kept drawing too. And soon, they both forgot which one was real. The last written page ends mid-sentence. And when the boy drew his name, then blank. The next page is pure white, except for a handwritten line. He can only exist if he's drawn completely. Inside the back cover, a name, scratched lightly into the leather. Isaac M., 1994. She remembers the article from the archives. The missing boy's name was never released, but a librarian mentioned Isaac, the same child who disappeared in Oak Ridge Terrace into the vent. The final page starts to fill. Later that night, she opens the book again. The last page, once blank, now has a faint sketch. Just outlines. A half-formed face. Long fingers. Spiral-shaped eyes. As she watches, the pencil strokes deepen as if something is drawing them in real time. A new line appears at the bottom. Once he's drawn, the other must be erased. Leah tries to burn the book. She tosses it into the oven. Turns it to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Waits. The oven light flickers. Smoke pours out. She opens it. The book sits untouched, cool to the touch, but the title has changed. The Girl Who Let Him Finish. March 17 to 3:14 a.m. The voice returns, but not from the vent. From inside the book. As she flips pages, the voice speaks through the text. You made me when you moved in. You gave me heat. You gave me name. You gave me you. Now let me finish. She slams the book shut, but the cover continues to pulse like a heartbeat. The drawing with her real name. She finds it taped under the kitchen table. This time, it's different. Written in pen, not crayon. A full body sketch. Meticulous. Detailed. Her face. Her hands. Her key necklace. Her watch. Underneath, for the first time, Leah Marissa Corbin. It's accurate. Too accurate. She never told anyone her middle name. The voice from the book speaks again. This time, it whispers as she sleeps. Thank you for writing me. Now I write back. In the morning, her bedroom wall is covered with fresh writing. The same phrase repeated. I remember better than you. The power flickers and so does her reflection. At 4 p.m., the power cuts. When it returns, her apartment lights flicker every 7 seconds. The same frequency the voice whispers, scratch, scratch, draw. In her mirror, her reflection glitches. Smiles when she doesn't. Moves a second slower. And in its hand, a black crayon. The book has one final page. That night, she opens the book again. Now, there are 2 final pages. Left side, her current sketch. Right side, a blank outline. But this one is filled slowly in real time as she breathes. First the eyes, then the mouth, then the hands reversed. She flips the page. Can't. The book won't let her. Closing scene, March 17th, 3:14 a.m. Leah wakes on the floor. The book is open next to her. Her drawing is now fully complete. And her own hands, her real ones, are smudged with crayon dust. She stares at the wall, where a new message is scrawled. I finish drawing you tomorrow. Then you go in the vent. Leah searches for anyone who remembers Isaac. A former maintenance worker comes forward with a confession. The vent was never just part of the building, it was a door meant to stay shut. And the drawings might be how Isaac keeps it open. March 18th, 2023, 10:41 a.m. Oak Ridge Terrace basement maintenance office. Leah didn't knock. She stormed into the cluttered basement room and dropped the book on the table in front of Artie, the building's longtime superintendent. You knew. Artie blinked at the title. The girl who let him finish. He didn't ask where she found it. He didn't pretend not to know. He just sighed. Artie's confession. We bricked over the old vent system in '97. After Isaac, he rubbed his temples, eyes darting toward the walls like they might be listening. Kid was weird. Always drawing. Always muttering. Said things were almost done. Then one day, poof, gone. Last seen near 4B. Fire drill that morning. No fire. But the mother? She started hearing him from the walls. Scratching. Whispering. She said he drew his way out. Said he wasn't Isaac anymore. The mother's note. Artie opened an old file drawer. Pulled out a worn piece of stationery, browned at the edges. Handwriting shaky. Black ink. If you're reading this, he's almost done with her. The name keeps changing, but the pattern's the same. He draws. She becomes. He only needs one more to finish the loop. At the bottom, one word, repeated. Erase. 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 He shows her the blueprints. They walk to a locked cabinet. Artie retrieves a faded blueprint of the building from 1956. He unrolls it. Here. These vents, they don't go anywhere. See this? He points to a wide circular gap behind Unit 4B. No duct. No pipe. Just nothing. It's not connected to the system. We called it the hollow. No one touched it. Until Isaac. The hollow behind her apartment. Leah insists they open it. Artie is reluctant, but she doesn't give him a choice. They return to Unit 4B with a crowbar and bolt cutter. Behind her bookshelf, through cracked plaster and a false panel, they uncover the sealed vent grate. It's different than the others. Not metal, stone, with spirals etched around the edge. The air coming out is cold, damp, wrong, and faintly smelling of crayons. Inside the hollow, they pry it open. Behind it, a crawl space. 6 feet long, 4 feet high. Carved in the interior walls are hundreds of drawings scrawled directly onto concrete. All of Leah, sleeping, crying, drawing, smiling with too many teeth, standing in a hospital gown, and one drawing larger than the rest. Leah climbing into the vent. A name carved in bone. At the back of the crawl space, they find a small tin lunchbox. Inside, broken crayons, old teeth, a scrap of notebook paper. On the paper, I don't remember her real name, so I made one. Now she only answers to it. Underneath, Leah Marissa Corbin. Leah's full name. Exactly right, but she never told anyone her middle name. She's becoming the drawing. March 19th. She wakes up with crayon on her fingertips. Not rubbed, applied. 3 spirals on her left hand. A small black sun on her wrist. She tries to scrub them off. They don't fade. They begin to itch. And in the bathroom mirror, her pupils are changing. Not round anymore, spiraled. Artie disappears. She tries to call Artie. No answer. Goes to his office. Door cracked open. Inside, cold, empty. On the floor, a single drawing. A stick figure hunched over blueprints. The walls behind him closing in. And in the bottom corner, The eraser broke. Her phone no longer recognizes her. Face ID fails. Voice memos play back in a child's voice. Every photo app has been replaced with a single black icon. She taps it. It opens to a sketch pad. On it, a digital drawing of her sleeping. She deletes it. It reappears. This time, she's not alone in the image. Something is in the vent above her head, fully drawn now. The name appears inside the vent. She climbs onto her bed, flashlight in hand. Pulls the vent plate back. Inside, on the inner wall of the duct, carved in deep gouges. Leah, 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 Leah. Dozens, hundreds, layered, and below them. Drawn, delivered, done. Closing scene, March 19th, 3:14 a.m. She wakes with her hand on a piece of paper, drawn while she slept. She unfolds it slowly. It's a perfect sketch of her face. The eyes spiraled, the mouth sewn shut, and written in blood-red crayon. You are now remembered, which means the real you is gone. Leah tries to destroy her own identity before the final drawing is complete. But with Artie gone and the book rewriting itself, her only chance is to find the original, unfinished sketch that began the cycle and burn it before she forgets her own name. March 20th, 2023, 2:44 a.m., Oak Ridge Terrace, Unit 4B. Leah stood in the hallway of her apartment holding a bottle of acetone and a steel wool pad. She had spent the last 2 hours trying to scrub the crayon spirals off her arms. Nothing worked. Every time she wiped one away, a new one appeared, darker, tighter, more painful. They weren't just marks anymore. They were instructions. She tries to rewrite herself. In a final act of desperation, she pulls out her journal and starts writing. My name is Leah Marissa Corbin. I am real. I am not drawn. I was born October 12, 1990, in Trenton, New Jersey. My mother's name was Helen. My father. She blinks. She can't remember his name. Checks her birth certificate. Gone. All files corrupted. The paper copy? Blank. Water-stained. She scribbles faster. But the pen starts writing on its own. When she lets go, it finishes a sentence in her handwriting. I am what he needs me to be. The return of the book. She threw it out. Burned it. But it's back. Lying open on her kitchen counter. The title now reads, The One Who Finished Herself. The final page is no longer blank. It shows a mirror and her standing in front of it, smiling, but her smile is drawn, exaggerated, cartoonish. Below the image, the eraser broke, so she helped. Voices from the vent. March 20 to 3:14 a.m. The house exhales. That's how it feels. A warm gust through the floorboards. And then, from the vent, in her own voice, It's okay now. You don't have to remember anymore. Just let go. I'll finish it for you. Leah backs away. The crayon marks on her arms pulse. Like veins. She visits the crawlspace again. The space behind the wall is different now. Deeper. Wider. She crawls inside with a flashlight. The drawings have expanded. Now they cover the floor and ceiling. She finds a new one. A full-body sketch of herself opening the vent from the inside. Underneath, welcome back. We kept your place warm. And in the far corner, a new sketch only half complete. Just an outline. But the name written above it isn't hers. It's Isaac. The eraser is real. She finds it tucked inside the lunchbox she'd left untouched. A pink school eraser worn to the nub. One word carved into it. Only works on him. She holds it in her hand, trembling. The crayon marks on her skin recoil slightly. She can feel them twitch. The drawing that bleeds. That night, she finds a fresh drawing on her bed. This one leaks. The black crayon runs down the page in thick, oily drops. She touches it. Smells like iron. The image shows her holding a knife. Standing over the vent. A spiral burns in her chest. Written beside it, You're not drawn. You're carved. She tries to erase the wall. March 21st. She presses the eraser against the drawings inside the vent crawlspace. First, nothing. Then, one of the sketches blinks, and the paper turns to ash. Another collapses into dust. She keeps going. But when she reaches her own sketch, the eraser burns her hand. It leaves a word scorched in her palm. Bound. The last mirror. She uncovers the bathroom mirror she had taped over, tears the blanket off. Her reflection is already waiting, not blinking, not breathing. And then it speaks. I drew you better. I waited so long for someone with the right shape. You were soft, believable, good at routines. But now we're almost done. You feel it, don't you? Leah nods. Not because she agrees, because she does feel it. Something inside her shifting, becoming a flatter. The spiral in the sky. That evening, clouds gather. Not round, not natural. They spiral inward above the apartment complex. Neighbors stare upward. One man vomits. A child starts drawing on the sidewalk in black chalk, spelling her name backward. And from every vent in the building, a low hum begins. Says nothing, but it sounds like sharpening. Closing scene, March 21st, 3:14 a.m. The vent in Leah's bedroom bursts open, but nothing crawls out. Instead, a rolled-up sheet of paper floats down like a feather. She opens it. It's a perfect self-portrait. Signed in the corner, Isaac M., age 7. And on the back, final version. Please file. With time running out, Leah returns to the only place that might hold the original drawing of Isaac, his old elementary school. But what she finds there isn't just a sketch. It's a contract, and she's already signed it. March 22nd, 2023, 11:47 a.m. Larkspur Elementary, closed since 1996. The school was abandoned, but not empty. Leah knew it the moment she stepped through the rusted doors. Air thick with mildew and graphite. Walls cracked and lined with child-sized handprints in crayon. And faint, too faint to be real, the sound of paper turning. Isaac's records were gone. She broke into the principal's office. No alarms, no cameras. The files inside the drawers were water-warped, half-eaten by silverfish. But one folder was still crisp. Student Isaac M. Redacted. Inside, report cards, straight C's. Teacher notes. Does not speak. Draws constantly. Removed from art class after incident. Parents requested he stop drawing people. The final entry. Stamped incomplete. Isaac claims the drawings finished themselves. The classroom that shouldn't exist. Leah found it behind the old janitor's closet. Room 14B. Not on the map. Inside. Walls coated in construction paper, each sheet covered with stick figure scenes. Rows of empty desks. One small chair in the center. On the whiteboard, written in black wax. This is where I learned to remember. At the front of the class sat a chalkboard cracked with one paper pinned to it. The original drawing. She tore it down gently. Dated October 4th, 1994. My home by Isaac M. A child's drawing of an apartment, Oak Ridge Terrace. A stick boy in a window. A vent above his head. A woman standing outside waving. But she recognized the shape of the woman. It wasn't his mother. It was her. And at the bottom, in perfect second-grade cursive. When I finish her, I can leave. The contract hidden behind the page. Behind the drawing, folded tightly, was an old sheet of legal paper, stamped with a faded seal. Property of Project K. Thra candidate file. Subject, Leah Marissa Corbin. File created, March 1993. Status, rendered. Notes, assigned to Unit 4B as Phase 10. Instability detected. Finalization likely. Erasure scheduled, March 24th, 2023. Scrawled in red pen over the text. She already signed. With sleep. With breath. With routine. She signed herself away. Leah dropped to her knees. Because it was true. She had done everything the voice asked. She slept. She responded. She listened. She drew. And now it wasn't erasing her. It was filing her. Storing her like a memory made real. The boy speaks from the desk. The small chair at the front of the room creaked. Then, the sound of crayon scratching wood. Leah turned. Isaac sat cross-legged on top of the desk. Only it wasn't a child. Not quite. His body was too still. Eyes wide, pure black. Fingers long and smudged with ink. He drew in the air, invisible lines hanging between them. "You're good paper," he said. "You didn't resist." "They usually do." She tries to rip the drawing. Leah grabbed my home and tore it in half. The air around her shifted. The floor cracked. The ceiling tiles warped. But Isaac only blinked. That wasn't the real one, he said. That was just the start. The real you's already archived. Downstairs. The basement vault. The school's basement smelled like rust and old wax. She found the vault behind a furnace panel locked with a 4-digit code. She guessed. 0314. It clicked. Inside, a long concrete hallway, lined with filing cabinets, each labeled. Subject, Leah C. Version 1, smiled too much. Version 2, ate too little. Version 3, too quiet. Version 4, tried to leave. Version 5 to 8, unstable. And then, version 9, final draft. She opened the drawer. Inside, a rolled parchment. She unrolled it carefully. The final draft. It was her, sketched in black and red. Every detail perfect, down to the scar on her ankle, the curl in her hair, the tension in her jaw. But something was different. Her eyes were closed. And in the background, the vent, with Isaac stepping out of it. Underneath. When she's complete, I'm free. Closing scene, March 22nd, 3:14 a.m. Leah returned home with the scroll under her coat. The lights flickered. The drawings trembled on the walls. And on her bed. A blank sheet of paper. And a black crayon. Waiting. As the voice whispered. Draw me back. Or take my place. Leah makes one last attempt to overwrite her own final version before Isaac escapes the vent for good. But drawing isn't just creation now, it's transfer. And whoever finishes the page becomes the story. March 23, 2023, 12:01 a.m., Oak Ridge Terrace, Unit 4B. Leah sat in the center of her bedroom floor. A blank sheet of paper lay in front of her. A single black crayon beside it. Everything around her was silent. Even the vent. For the first time since this began, it didn't whisper, breathe, or hum. It was waiting. The rules were clear now. She understood it. The voice Isaac didn't draw to remember. He drew to exist. Each line brought him closer. And each time she reacted, each routine she fell into, waking at 3:14, checking the vent, finding the drawings, it added ink to his page. He didn't live in the vent. He lived in drafts. She wasn't just the canvas. She was the binder. The final choice. In front of her was the last piece of the ritual. The final blank page. If she drew him, he would be complete. He would step out of the story. And she would disappear. But if she drew herself and got it right, maybe, just maybe, she could break the loop. She begins to draw. Leah lifted the crayon with a shaking hand. The spiral on her wrist throbbed with heat. She closed her eyes and pictured herself not as Isaac had drawn her. Not stitched. Not wide-eyed. Not mute. Not compliant. But real. Messy hair. Chipped nail polish. Slightly crooked nose from a middle school soccer injury. She began to draw. Line by line. The vent opens. Not physically, spiritually. A gust of cold air rushed through the room. The walls flattened. Shadows bent inward. Drawings peeled from the ceiling and hovered midair like feathers caught in stasis. From the vent came a voice. You're not an artist. You're a subject. Let me finish. Leah doesn't stop. She draws faster. Eyes. Freckles. Wrinkle above her brow. The longer she draws, the more the apartment flickers. For a moment, it's a classroom again. Then the hallway of the hospital she was born in. Then the void behind the vent filled with sketches screaming without sound. But her line stays steady. She draws a mouth. And it's smiling. The paper bleeds. The crayon breaks in her hand. But the image continues to darken. It's inking itself, finishing the lines she's too slow to make. Her version of herself blinks. Then turns her head on the page toward Leah. And speaks. You made me wrong. But at least I'm yours. Isaac tries to rewrite. The vent groans. All the scattered drawings burst into ash. A child's laugh echoes from the walls. It doesn't matter. You'll forget by morning. They all do. I've drawn this ending before. The floor shakes. The book, The Girl Who Let Him Finish, slams open beside her. A new page writes itself. Final entry, she resisted. But the vent still opens. She throws herself into the draft. Leah tears the page from the book. The one she drew. It glows faintly. She holds it over the vent. You want real? Here's real. And jumps. Not with her body, with her mind. She focuses on the drawing like a doorway. Imagines stepping into her own outline. The room vanishes. So does the sound. Inside the sketch, she stands in a place made of graphite and paper dust. All around her past versions of herself. One screaming in ink. One scribbled out. One still unfinished. And across from them, Isaac. 7 years old. Eyes wide. holding a crayon the size of a dagger. You weren't supposed to be able to come here. Only drawings belong here. She steps forward. Then draw me real. The final drawing begins. He kneels. Starts to sketch. This time it's different. Not controlling. Not twisting. Just capturing Leah as she is. And when he finishes the last line, she takes the paper from him, tears it in half, and whispers, "No more versions." The spiral stops. Every wall in the apartment twists once, flickers, then settles. The drawings vanish. The crayon marks on her skin disappear. The book turns to dust. And the vent seals itself shut permanently. Closing scene, March 23, 2023, 3:14 a.m. Leah wakes on the floor. Sunlight peeks through the window. No vent above her bed. No sketches. Just one thing taped to her door from the outside. A blank piece of paper. On it, one sentence. File closed. Memory unstable. Recommend discard. Leah tries to move on, but her life is missing corners. People forget her mid-conversation. Her reflection still stutters. And worst of all, she finds that another girl named Leah just moved into Unit 4B. And her walls are still blank. March 24, 2023, 9:07 a.m., Oak Ridge Terrace, outside Unit 4B. Leah stood in front of her door, staring at it like a stranger. There was no vent above the frame. No drawing taped to the wood. No sound behind it. Inside, it was supposed to be hers. But she hadn't lived there in weeks. Not really. And someone else had moved in. The leasing office forgot her. She marched down to the leasing office with her ID. "Hi, I need to speak to someone about 4B. The woman at the desk tilted her head. "I'm sorry, 4B was filled 2 days ago. By Leah Corbin." "Sweet girl. Just moved from out of state." Leah froze. "That's my name." The woman frowned. "No, her birthday's different." Leah checked her license. No birth date listed. Just a name. A blank field. And under photo ID status, temporary identity, pending review. She watches the new Leah move in. From across the street, Leah watched as a young woman carried boxes up the stairs to 4B. Mid-30s. Dark hair. Glasses. She looked a little like her. Not identical, but close enough that people would believe it was her. The real Leah. Whatever real meant now. She tries to confront her. That evening, she knocked. The new Leah answered, smiling. "Oh, are you from the building?" The voice. The tone. The rhythm, it was almost right. Leah swallowed. "Do you hear anything from the vents?" The woman blinked. "There are no vents." She opened the door wider. Leah peeked in. The bedroom wall where the vent had been was smooth, painted over, untouched. The room had no memory of her. The gaps begin. At the cafe, Leah orders her usual. The barista pauses halfway through. "Sorry, have we met?" She nods. "I'm Leah. I come in every week." The barista tilts their head. "I don't remember you." She checks her phone. Contacts missing. Photos scrambled. Text threads blank. She calls her sister. The voice on the line. "Sorry, you have the wrong number." She still dreams in crayon. Every night, she dreams of white walls. A single chair. A sheet of paper. A crayon beside it. But this time, she's not the one holding it. Someone else is drawing her. And every night, she wakes with a word on her tongue. Erase. The woman in the mirror. In the mall bathroom, Leah looks into the mirror and sees someone behind her. She spins. No one there. But her reflection lingers a half-second longer. Smiles. And holds a crayon. Just before the image catches up, it mouths something. Version 11. She tracks down the architect. Leah finds the name of the original building designer of Oak Ridge Terrace. Harold Barron. Died in 1998. But his last interview is archived in the local paper. He says, "The fourth floor wasn't meant to be residential. There was a draft error. Something got built into the blueprints. A recursion space. The more people moved in, the deeper it got. We kept sealing the vent, but it never stayed shut." His final quote. "It's not a vent. It's a mouth. And every 10 years, it asks for a name." March 25th, the message in the dust. She returns to her old apartment building. Stands outside 4B. Watches the new Leah through the window. She's sitting at a desk. Drawing. Leah squints. It's a figure sleeping in a bed. On the outside of the window, in the dust, Leah writes, "Who told you to draw?" A moment later, the new Leah looks up, walks slowly to the window, and writes back, "I don't know." The crayon appears again. Back at her motel, Leah finds a small object under her pillow. A black crayon. Half used. Same wax texture. wrapped in torn notebook paper. On the paper, last chance. Draw the version that never wakes up, or become her again. She draws one final time. She finds a notebook, sits in silence, begins to sketch, but not herself. She draws a blank room. No windows, no vents, no doors, no name, just a single figure sleeping. And beneath it, filed, do not open. The spiral closes. She burns the page, not in anger, in acceptance. And when the paper curls into ash, the room around her finally feels still. No voices, no flickers, no one watching. March 26, 2023, 3:14 a.m. In Unit 4B, the new Leah sleeps peacefully. On the wall behind her, a spiral begins to fade. The vent never appears. No paper slides from beneath the door. No crayon drawings whisper themselves into being. Just silence. And one word on the wind outside the building. Filed.